I really can't believe it. Less than a month ago, Agatha All Along showed up and turned out to be one of the best superhero shows in years, and then The Penguin wraps up and proves itself to be one of the best anything shows of this year. It is such an incredible thing that we got 2 spin-offs about characters that nobody, especially watching, the Batman or the WandaVision show, would expect would be the obvious next step. I mean, sure, they were both fan-favorite characters, but it didn't seem like either of those movies or shows existed to set up some sort of future Agatha or Penguin thing. It was just like something that the writers really wanted to do. And both times, it was really, really good. So I'm going to try in the beginning of the video not to spoil the Penguin finale or like any of the details from the last half of the season in case you have not watched it, because it's really, really good. I'm pretty sure this is one of those shows where everyone I know who I've been like, you should watch this show, and has watched it, has finished it, and is really into it. So I imagine if you watched episodes 1 and 2, you're probably on board, but maybe you're behind, so this video won't spoil anything important. Just say, like, the show is really good. I think it's a really solid 8 episodes constructed in a very purposeful way, tells the story of Oz and everybody around him and how he affects them, how Gotham affects everyone else. I think, it's one of those shows where I could just go down the IMDb page and read everybody's name and go, they're really good. Colin Farrell, really good. Now, I've heard Colin Farrell say that he doesn't like being in the makeup chair. Anything nice about it, he says, oh yeah, me and the makeup team, we listen to music for 3 hours every day and talk and stuff. I'm sure that's nice, but like, the makeup, first of all, they do a terrific job. He looks great, and all of the specifics of his face, like, very memorable, but also look perfect, like flawless. But I think it's really a testament to both the makeup team and Colin Farrell of how much he has been able to act through all this prosthetics, how human this character is, how much we're able to see like these little kind of twitches in his face when he's thinking about something or having some idea. It's really astounding how good this character is and how interesting he is and how likable he is and obviously how unlikable he is. Also, I don't know if it's clear, I have my incredibly bitey cat on my lap. Mortimer, relax. He's so cute. He has to be in my lap. Going through the series, I think in the first episode, maybe for the first like 10 minutes, the voice is a little much. And it only jumps out at me whenever he says one of his voices, right? Like Toyin here, right? Like that's it's a crazy accent. I don't know where it comes from, but it's great. But obviously everybody else in the cast is great. Kristen Milotti, also great performance, lots of gravitas. And I think she has what is definitely the moment of the series. Definitely most people's favorite episode of the series. Renzi Felice, who played Victor, solid. The stutter really worked. Overall, I think this character was good. I remember going into the series being like, why is this kid here? And I still think overall he is a part of the show that you could cut out, but you do want somebody who Penguin is explaining himself to, and you also want somebody who Penguin can see himself in, and that is the role this kid mostly plays, is like, yeah, like this is what Penguin wants to project, and it makes him really likable. And there's certain points where he's like, don't be embarrassed about the way you speak. Like, it humanizes him a lot. And then I would say the fourth lead, really hidden when you open up the Google for a cast of the Penguin, is Deirdre O'Connell, who plays Frances, his mom, Penguin's mom. She's really good. A lot of the stuff that's really interesting about her comes later in the show, but again, from the beginning, you're like, oh, there's something here. Like, this relationship is really interesting. I think it's interesting how they wove in the consequences of the Batman into the show. I don't think, having watched it all, there's much set up for the Batman 2. Partially because it doesn't seem like they knew what was going to happen in it until very recently, right? Like, I'm sure they had the big ideas put together, but that script was not like fully written until very recently. But obviously you see remnants of the Flood, you do see certain small characters, but it makes the whole thing feel connected. The writing was really strong. Seems like this whole show was kind of the baby of Lauren LaFranc, who worked on some Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And Hemlock Grove and Impulse. And yeah, good. It's a good, really, really, really good show. Yeah, so as far as will this win Emmys and awards and stuff like that, I would hope so. I think this is very good and deserves to win, plenty of awards, or at least get nominated, right? Like, that's the thing. For a lot of these shows, they're up against really strong shows that are doing something very similar, or even if it's not similar, it's like, how do you judge something like Shogun versus The Bear versus this? Not to say that they're even in the same category, or like Shogun was the last year thing, but like they're all very good performances. But I do think if HBO wanted to, they could make a push for it and it could do well. I think there's hope. I like the music. I think it was very dramatic. Also liked how they worked in certain songs from like the real world. That was fun. Yeah, overall, very good. Watch this show if you haven't watched it. All right, spoiler stuff in 3, 2, 1. Where's Batman? What happened to him? He's got to be really, really busy with something. I think it's so funny. the way it ends, spoilers again, double, triple spoilers in case anybody doesn't want to be spoiled, but like the last shot of the show is Penguin looking out on Gotham, and then the big bat symbol comes up, and it's like, oh, right. And it's after, and I think even Penguin has a line like, nobody's more important than me, I got everybody. And I even said in the moment, like, there is that one guy. And then the bat symbol comes up. I would say, if anything, the thing that it seems like this show was missing, not missing, I guess, the thing that I think they could expand on in the future is what Arkham is. Because I think we spent a lot of time there, and it seems like that was a show they wanted to do in this universe. So I'm not surprised there was no tease for the Batman 2. And I'm kind of happy with that. I think that the tease of Catwoman was like kind of cute. She sends black letters, like letters in black envelopes. Very dramatic. Nothing is stopping everybody from doing that. If I got one of those from anybody, no matter what's in it, I'd be like, this is the coolest person ever. So maybe I'm going to start doing that in the future. I don't know. But yeah, it is wild Batman's not involved, because the Maroni family is all dead now. They were dead before. The Falcone family is all dead now. They weren't dead before. Sofia Gigante is now in prison. You had nothing to do with it because it was part of some corruption thing that it seems like if Batman was involved with, probably wouldn't have gone down that way. The city exploded again. It's gotta stink to live in Gotham. But I do think that, like, there is a really strong case that Penguin is able to make, that Victor makes to Penguin, but it's the like, nah, man, like, Gotham stinks, and everybody in the slums of Gotham has a crappy life. And I think that was something that, like, you had moments in the Batman where, like, Bella Real would come up and say, Mr. Wayne, you know, what are you going to do? How are you going to make people's lives better? And the answer is, as of now, not much, but in the future, hopefully something, because the Penguin kind of did. He got the lights turned out for everybody with his weird corruption stuff, but it worked. And that is, you know, nice for those people. I don't want the Batman to involve Batman solving all of the crime problems and, like, wealth inequality in Gotham. But I guess I want a little bit more of an acknowledgement that either Batman is not doing something, like Bruce Wayne is not doing something, or he's thinking about it, but his thing takes longer to do, and what Penguin is doing is like a shorter term solution. I don't know, but like there's a big giant hole in the city from when the lab exploded, so that's pretty wild. Penguin's in charge of all the crime. That's interesting, because that is kind of what the Long Halloween is about. It's about this transition from the regular criminals to the super criminals and the more costumed characters. Now, I don't think this version of the Penguin is a more costumed, like, cartoony character in this universe than, say, Falcone, but at least he's like his own guy. He's this new thing, and he represents a change in leadership that I think is interesting, so it does have some of the spirit of that. I do think that, like, I said this in the beginning of the series, and I was kind of joking, but, like, the book that The Batman is based on, and a little bit of this, I guess, is Batman Year One, which is a retelling of Batman's origin story, and, you know, characters are tougher, and there's a lot of things are different. You can see a lot of the similarities in terms of, like, visuals, but also, like, how they play the Riddler. Like I said in a video previously, the one character is very different is the Penguin, who is the mayor of Gotham at the time that Batman Year One starts. And I think I said this at some point when I was talking about this show, like, he could be the mayor in the future. And I think that's where they're going with this character, because it makes sense, right? He only wants to be loved. He wants attention. He wants to help people because he wants attention and he wants love and he wants a parade. And, you know, he's already won being a criminal, so maybe that's the next step for him. He's looking at Bella Real. He had that look in his eye. I think it'd be interesting to see him run for public office now with this, like, oh, I'm the man of the people thing. But again, that plays into, like, the politics of Gotham. Then I'm wondering where Bruce Wayne is. Like, if Penguin manages to run for mayor. And it's so funny because we're seeing this in Penguin and then also in Daredevil Born Again, where it seems like Kingpin is going to run for mayor. And if I mix them up, it's just because they're very similar characters, the way they're written on these shows. But I don't know, I guess Penguin does seem to be really good at spinning things. That's obviously how he gets out of this problem. But maybe he can project this image of, like, no, I always have been working for the working people, and I was, you know, at this bar and I saw all this corruption and I, you know, helped Batman get rid of it. I don't know. That would be kind of interesting if Penguin runs on a I'm the friend of Batman ticket. Very sad that Vic died, but again, this is something that if you kind of were trying to guess at things, this is the easiest guess from the beginning of this series, is he will have to kill this kid to fully accept his, you know, new Penguin destiny. And it makes sense because he doesn't, you don't trust family, and that's what the whole show is about. And the kid's like, oh, I'm family now. And then that's when the Penguin's like, oh, I think the Penguin knew he was going to kill him in that moment either way. But it's a little bit of like, oh man, I've got such a weird deal with family. And but it's a sad scene, but it's one that I don't think took me by surprise enough to get that big emotional reaction from me. But like, because ever since the Penguin didn't kill this kid in the first episode, he has been on borrowed time, and there's no way he's going to be in future of the Batman stuff. Poor Sophia, although, I don't know, man, she's doing your classic Batman villain thing of like monologuing and getting really personal and trying to do therapy at the Penguin to punish him. And like, that's one rule of being a Batman villain, just don't do that, just shoot him or something, shoot the Penguin, shoot his mom, and then just move on. But when she started doing that, you were like, all right, he's gonna maybe find a way out of this. And we're seeing like the limits of what this character can do. Is like, she's really effective at making these big moves where she takes down the family, then she's playing the game against someone who is as clever and like willing to do whatever as Penguin. It might not work out as well for her. She's in Arkham. That's fun. I hope she teams up with Catwoman. I don't think they really have that much in common besides like their haircut and stuff. And maybe Catwoman would break her out of jail. I don't know if I'd like to see her in more stuff. Like, I feel like this is one of those things where it's just like perfect. All right, last thing. Because honestly, the show's great. I don't know. It was really good. Big question coming out of it. Do you make a Penguin season 2? And if you do, what's it about? Now, I don't think they need to or anything like that. And I think this story is very complete, and we will see if this character shows up in the Batman 2 at all. I think he probably should. Definitely now. It depends on what the movie's about, but I feel like at least an acknowledgement of all the explosions that happened, and that Penguin seems to be the only person that made it out of that okay. I think would be important. But then, okay, so what do you do in the Penguin season 2? Because Colin Farrell said, like, oh, of course I would do more. And of course he would. I mean, not of course he would either, because, like, that guy just, do a role where you get to look nice and not have to put on all that plastic stuff. But if you're willing to, like, yes, continue to make this show, because it's good. So what do? I think you have to, for a show like this, season 2, Penguin, who is now in control of all of the crime, has to see some sort of pushback, right? I think the character you could put in here that I don't think would make the most sense, but like you could do as the antagonist for this, if they're not doing him in the Batman movies, is like a Harvey Dent figure. Someone who, for whatever reason, wants to take down these different mafia characters, and, the Penguin being the new kingpin of crime would make him a big target. I think you could bring Gordon into the show and have him really actively go after Penguin, but I don't know. That's like not as interesting to me. I'd want to see someone else from the Batman universe that would be tricky for Penguin to deal with. I think a character like Hugo Strange is interesting because he would now have access to Sophia, so he could get information about Penguin, what he would want from Penguin. It's like, I don't know, man. Like, because he's confused about why a little Penguin man would want to do all these crimes. Like, I don't think it needs to be there. I do think maybe introducing a rival crime boss or someone who wasn't around for all of this, but is also able to, like, I guess one of the things we notice is the Penguin wants to invent all these new drugs. We have the invention of Bliss. It seems like it came from Arkham, and it maybe is related to Poison Ivy or something. Probably not, but like, it's a plant thing. But where do you go from that? Like, maybe you have a new, because you could do it where in a future season the big problem that Kingpin runs into is there is a new chemist out there making some sort of new drug that is just the opposite. Like, it is destroying everything that Penguin's working on, because that is, like, I guess what his biggest problem would be is someone who has something that's kind of like what he had, and he has to take them down before they get him. Yeah, I think if I were in charge of Penguin season 2, the idea is there is a new drug on the street that threatens to destroy Penguin's empire, and also this drug is more dangerous than anything Gotham's dealt with before. So, like, partially the Penguin comes in as like, he's taking my territory, I got to go get him, I got to destroy this guy. But the other part, maybe if he wants to, like, paint himself as this more noble figure, is like, oh, we had drugs, sure, but Bliss, nothing bad happened with Bliss, but with this thing, whatever this is, we gotta get rid of that. So I think the obvious next step would be for Scarecrow, or some sort of other chemistry figure to create a new drug that is like the fear toxin or something. You call it fear, and it's spreading and it's causing people to do all kinds of crazy stuff. Like it makes you hallucinate, and then you know, die a bunch, and that is a problem. And, you know, the cops can't deal with it. Also, the higher profile that this would bring to everything that the Penguin is doing, right? Like maybe the police are able to keep their noses out of what he's doing while it's the same thing it's always been. But when a new drug that is more dangerous is introduced, then it's like, whoa, now the cops are getting involved. Now we got to keep the cops out, so we got to find this Scarecrow guy. I think that's maybe where I would put it. Then the other question is like, where is he from? Or like, what's the personal connection to Kingpin, Penguin? Jesus Christ, there's so many times where I've definitely said Kingpin instead of Penguin. But yeah, what would be the personal connection? I don't know. He could be an Arkham guy, right? That's what people thought maybe Theo Ross's character would be, is some sort of version of Scarecrow, although it doesn't seem like that's what he was. You could also do Mad Hatter if you wanted to do another guy who does psychedelic-y stuff, although at that point I'd say just do Scarecrow. I don't want this to become Gotham where it's like, ooh, what's the Penguin's version of Mr. Freeze, and what's the Penguin's version of Calendar Man? But I think there's something to having Penguin go up against somebody who is at his level, because Sophia, while she was very dangerous and stuff, was part of his past, and she didn't really want to be part of his future, right? She wanted to get out of there. She wanted to kill him. But now I think we could see a character show up, and he's like, no, you're the past, Penguin. I'm the future now. And all the things that you've been telling these people, like about how, oh, you want to make the city safer for them. You can't do it. Like, I'm going to use my drug to destroy your empire, destroy this whole city, and then we're going to build it back up or something like that. I could see that being the way to play. Again, with Scarecrow, it's just like, you got to really make it something that Batman just does not care about for some reason. I would say that makes the most sense for me. I think it could be kind of cool if Penguin did not just have his own criminal empire, but also start kind of creating some of the lesser rogues that Batman wouldn't really deal with, but like your Fireflies or your Deadshots. Not to say that Batman wouldn't deal with them, but wouldn't need to, right? Because it's just, that guy's a sniper, and that guy's a guy who sets fires if you don't want to give him a jetpack and stuff. So you can make a somewhat more grounded version of them that have Penguin's team be made up of other weird misfit guys. I think that would make sense. Or if he's not doing that, Scarecrow's doing that, right? Have Scarecrow have assembled the team of those guys. And not like assembled the team like made in Avengers, but just like Scarecrow, you know, he has a new idea for what Gotham can be. It's something the Penguin isn't doing, right? Penguin is not working with these other people that are also kind of these big figures the same way that Batman is. Like, Scarecrow understands that if you're going to be the new head of crime in Gotham and you're going to compete with someone like the Batman, you're going to have to come up with something very, very clever, and you're going to have to create this new image. And like Penguin, maybe that would be his thing, would be by the end of the season, besides being mayor, he could be more of just like a traditional, the Penguin, which we get a little bit of here with the top hat and the, you know, the tuxedo, but something a little closer to like that classy, I don't know, Penguin, like respectable Mayor Penguin character. But yeah, I hope they do it. I don't necessarily need to see like more of Sophia, but and everybody else in Oz's life is dead or gone. I guess his girlfriend mom is still around, so she should stick around. And I guess technically her brother or something is Clayface, but I doubt we'll see him. Although that wouldn't be horrible. It really doesn't seem like Reeves wants to do the supernatural stuff. I think Clayface is like one step further than he's willing to go. But maybe Basil Karlo is just like kind of a spy, or, you know, maybe he's a failed actor who comes back to Gotham. Maybe Penguin's whole deal is like he doesn't want to, he knows he can't be the mayor, but he wants to create a puppet that he can use to run for mayor. So he finds Basil Karlo and is like, oh, you're back. You know, I know your sister. She's a great lady and stuff. He puts on my mom's perfume and tells me I'm a good little boy. I want you to run for mayor. I'll tell you what to do. I'll pull all the strings. You'll be perfect, right? Like, that could be something he could do. And then maybe later in the season when Karlo just can't do it, he steps in and takes over. And that would be like the arc there, is him going from this character that works in the shadows, exists in the shadows, to a public figure, which is what maybe Scarecrow would be good at that he wouldn't be good at. I don't know. So, Matt Reeves, if you're watching this, I know you are because you watch all these videos probably, that would be a good way to do it, I guess. But Also, you don't have to do another season of this. I mean, do a season of a Catwoman show. I'd be fine with that too. Or just do the Batman 2 and make it really, really good. That's fine. But this was better than it had any business being. I'm so happy it was so good. Yeah, I'm really excited for like Peacemaker, Creature Commandos. We got a lot of fun DC stuff. It's interesting. Marvel's in like a little bit. I don't even want to say a lull because it's got What If and then Captain America and Spider-Man and all that stuff, like the Spider-Man show. But like this really was this Agatha Penguin thing. The first in what will probably be a long line of like a Marvel thing and a TC thing around at the same time now, and then another one, like Superman, Fantastic Four. So, that's kind of cool. And yeah, I'm looking forward to Peacemaker a lot. Everybody that watches these, thank you so much for watching. That's all I got. Stay safe. I'll see you next time. Bye.